Ladies and gentlemen, the Dallas Cowboys now have a major hole left on their team as the head coaching spot is now vacant. As the Dallas Cowboys and head coach Mike McCarthy could not agree upon terms on the length of a new contract. This now leaves the Cowboys looking towards the future as they have to figure out who's the right man for the job. And today, I'm going to give you my top candidates for the Dallas Cowboys head coaching position, along with the extra throw-in that I'm pretty sure will never happen, but I think it will be an amazing, fresh move to make for the Cowboys. Let's get right into this, but first, word from our sponsors. Be sure to check out BetUS's brand new addition, their online casino, where you can play all of your favorite slot games as much as you want to with BetUS, one of the most reputable sportsbook and betting companies in the world. So be sure to check out BetUS's all new slots game and game room today, and please bet responsibly. Now let's get right back into the program. The first coach on my list, and this should come as a surprise to absolutely nobody, is going to be Ben Johnson, the current offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. And the main reason why I want Ben Johnson outside of, I think this is the personality that he would impart on this team. He seems like a no-nonsense guy that's still modern enough in his approach where he can relate to these younger generations of players. But look at the results this man has put on paper, ladies and gentlemen. Ben Johnson has been the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions since 2022. Since taking over, this is what Ben Johnson has put on paper. Every single year that he's been the Detroit Lions offensive coordinator, he has had a top 5 in yardage and points offense. That is absolutely ridiculous, with his offense being number 1 this year in points scored and number 2 in yards gained. Last year, they were number 5 in points scored and number 3 in yards gained. And the year before that, they were number 5 in points scored and number 4 in yards gained. This is total offense. And remember, this is while they have Jared Goff as their quarterback, and that is mainly because Ben Johnson, man, his inventive play calling, his unique approach to play calling, not being afraid to pull a rabbit out of the hat. And usually when he pulls a rabbit out of the hat, that mug works, y'all. So he had Penei Sewell and these big guys, these big offensive linemen out there running the ball and doing crazy stuff and faking fumbles. And bro, I want Ben Johnson. I think Ben Johnson would be the absolute best option for the Dallas Cowboys if you're really trying to make a move to keep your team competitive and you're trying to make your move that's going to also push your team towards the future. I think Ben Johnson would serve 2 different purposes. He would be the perfect guy to keep your team competitive for right now, but also the perfect guy to lay the foundation for whatever is next to come. I think Ben Johnson could find himself coming to the Cowboys and being in one of the situations like Jason Garrett, where he's here for 7-8 years. And I wouldn't be against that at all. Let that man get his feet wet as a head coach for the first time in the NFL on the grandest stage of them all, after putting up the type of resume he's put up, especially if the Detroit Lions were to make some type of deep playoff run this season. And don't let them win a Super Bowl. Yeah, Ben Johnson should be at the top of the Cowboys list, because remember, Jerry loves getting coaches with that experience, with those skins on the wall. And Ben Johnson being able to say, hey, I went to an NFC Championship game last year, lost by the hair on my chinny chin chin, and then went to a Super Bowl this season and won a Super Bowl. Oh, Jerry be ready to bag up the Brinks truck for him, and I wouldn't blame him. Ben Johnson, to me, should be the number 1 coaching candidate. And if you can't get Ben Johnson, you should get his counterpart on the other side of the ball. And while Aaron Glenn has not put up as gaudy of a statistical run is what Ben Johnson has been able to put up, he brings something very similar in the culture that I think he would help establish within the Dallas Cowboys organization, especially on the defensive side of the ball, especially considering that he's also a former player of the Dallas Cowboys. He's someone who's not unfamiliar with what it means to be a Dallas Cowboy and all the noise and the attention that goes into it, and Jerry's involvement with it. So if you're looking for a coach who would be able to kind of withstand Jerry's influence, Aaron Glenn's name should be up there just as much as Ben Johnson, especially again if the Detroit Lions make a deep run and that defense shows up. And they lost their best defensive player this season. They have lost a couple of defensive players that are super important to that organization, and they've been able to just keep chugging along. So both of those coaches should be at the top of the list for Jerry Jones and company if you're trying to push this organization forward, but also lay the foundation for the future. I think Aaron Glenn will be an excellent guy to bring in. He would give you that players coach feel that our players seem to really enjoy in Dallas, but he also brings that no nonsense mentality, as he likes to call it, a tough physical, violent operation that loves to play man coverage is how he describes his defense. That's who we are. That's our identity. I would love to have that imparted upon the Dallas Cowboys defense. And again, if you look at his actual rankings since he's been with the Detroit Lions, his defenses have been pretty decent, right? This year, they were a top 10 defense in points allowed and one of the better rushing defenses as it pertains to kind of keeping the run game at bay against them. And again, they lost some serious pieces. And again, if you look at Aaron Glenn's defensive rankings with the Detroit Lions, it really doesn't do him justice as to just how he's helped change around the outfit over there, right? But I think if we couldn't get Ben Johnson, I think getting Aaron Glenn from the other side of the ball, just someone that's going to come and steal that culture in Dallas is a very good consolation prize. Now, going from consolation prizes to stuff that I guess I wouldn't be ready to jump off the ledge for. The next one is one I'm just really not keen on, but I think probably has the biggest possibility of happening, and it's Jon Gruden. Jerry loves coaches that have Super Bowl experience. Jerry loves coaches that have those skins on the wall. Jon Gruden has a Super Bowl ring, ladies and gentlemen, and Jon Gruden, to me, strikes me as a candidate that's eerily similar to what Mike McCarthy was the year that he came to the Dallas Cowboys. Jon Gruden's been removed from football for the past couple of seasons for some transgressions that I think if anybody can overlook, it would probably be Jerry Jones, the man that has a very infamous picture of him standing outside of a certain school in Arkansas looking at a certain group of people a certain kind of way. So I think Jon Gruden's past transgressions, I think if anybody were to give it another shot, it would be a Jerry Jones, right? So I don't think that's going to come into play much here. And just overall, I do like Jon Gruden's approach to coaching football teams. I do like the culture and the mentality, I think, that he would impart on the team. I do like the energy that he would bring. To me, Jon Gruden would bring somewhat like an energy similar to what a Pete Carroll did to the Seahawks when he first got there. Jon Gruden brings that same type of excitement for the game. He has a hard-nosed style of coaching, but I think he also kind of understands this newer generation of player and just the newer way that things are done, especially since he got the whole got me feeling nicey stuff going on TikTok and stuff. So I don't know. Jon Gruden would be a move that I wouldn't be mad at, but I wouldn't just exactly be excited about. To me, this is like interchangeable with the Mike McCarthy, and I just really wouldn't expect much drastic changes from the Cowboys. I mean, if you look at Jon Gruden's track record, for one, it is thick, and I mean thick. And if you're looking for experience, this is about as experienced as you're going to find as a head coach that's on the market in this day and age, man. But overall, his offenses have done okay when he's had decent offensive weapons. He's never had like terrible teams or anything. He's never had teams that just been completely inept outside of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers during that Super Bowl run. And that team was run by the defense. But overall, I think Jon Gruden as a head coach, if he brought some viable assistants with him, some coordinators with him, and I think that would be the thing that's kind of scary. And I think the thing that probably makes me kind of be okay with a Gruden is I think that he would be a guy that's okay with bringing Mike Zimmer back, right? So Jon Gruden, he has his positive, he has his negatives. I think that would kind of just fall flat for me as far as excitement goes. So that would be number 3 on my list, like a Jon Gruden type of guy. Number 4 on my list, and I know people don't want to hear this, but there's a segment of people out there that would really enjoy something like this, would be prime time. And I know, look, man, I'm just not a fan of this. I'm not a fan of the noise surrounding this, but I do think that you do have to throw his name out there. It's prime time. He's played in Dallas. He has a good relationship with Jerry, and you would have to throw his name out there. But I think he's already made it clear he wouldn't want to coach unless he's coaching both of his sons. So he wants Shadur and Shiloh going to whatever team he coaches with. And I just don't know if I'll be ready for the media noise. And to be quite frank, Coach Prime hasn't done enough on the college ranks to justify bringing him in and thinking that he's going to do a much better job than Mike McCarthy did. I mean, yeah, you could say he would probably create a better culture, but what has that culture done for him on the college level? We haven't seen Coach Prime win any games where it's like, oh yeah, that's a coach's game. That's the game that the coaches won. That's the game that Coach Prime outcoached. A superior and more talented teams, Coach Prime outcoached them, and that's why that team won. We haven't really seen that game on the college level. And to be quite frank, anytime we've seen them go against real competition, whether it be even how they got ran out the building by BYU, anytime we see them go against real competition, man, that team looks very average. So I'm not really one of the people that's just buying all the Coach Prime hype. And personally, I hope this doesn't happen. But if it did happen, I wouldn't be mad at it. What I would be mad at, however, is this next guy. Keep Kellen Moore and all the reads and the options and all the checks and just this super convoluted mad scientist ass offense that he's running. Leave that in Philadelphia. Let him go out there and continue to make Jalen Hurts look like he has no clue what the hell's going on in the field. Let him go out there and continue to be saved by Saquon Barkley. I don't care if they win a Super Bowl this season. Leave Kellen Moore in Philadelphia. However, if they win a Super Bowl, you can guarantee Kellen's going to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. 100%. If Philly win, he's going to be the head coach of the Cowboys. And that's probably the most terrifying thing out of all of this. Leave Kellen Moore. Anybody but Kellen Moore. I'll be the first to start the campaign. Anybody but Kellen. That's the hashtag. Anybody but Kellen. I don't care if you're on IG, Twitter, whatever. Follow me on all those things, by the way, at Attack on Cowboys. Hashtag anybody but Kellen. That is the worst case scenario for Dallas Cowboys fans. I'm telling y'all right now, y'all do not want to run that back. Kellen has not changed much in how his offense runs. He's picked up a new mesh scheme that he likes to use on third downs and important downs to convert with. But outside of that, you're still looking at an offense that's completely dictated by receivers not being open and quarterbacks and receivers having to make a ton of reads every single play. That is not what you want. You want Ben Johnson type offenses where guys are just schemed open without having to think their way through the play, man. Leave Kellen in Philly. Don't want him here. Do not want him anywhere near the Dallas Cowboys. I don't care what his offenses look like. I don't care what his offensive ranks have been with the teams that he's been with. Yes, he's had 2 number 1 ranked offenses with the Cowboys, but we've seen Dak do that again with Mike McCarthy. So obviously it wasn't just Kellen. Then he went to the Chargers and completely ruined that offense and put them into the bottom half of the league. Then he's with Philly with all those weapons and still barely had a top 10 offense this season. Absolutely not, man. Absolutely not. Lead them boys up out of here. And the only reason they had a serviceable offense is because the rushing offense was so damn good because Saquon ran for 2,000 yards. So no. Leave Kellen. Now, the little bonus bit that I'm going to put in here, the bonus name I'm throwing into the hat is Marcus Freeman from Notre Dame. I think that this would be one of those Jimmy Johnson type of moves, one of those young, hot college head coaches. It has been a minute since Jerry has poached the college ranks, but this man has returned Notre Dame to its former glory. Notre Dame is now in a national championship game off the shoulders of a Marcus Freeman. They don't have the best team in the league. They don't have the best players in the nation on that team, but they do have one of the better coaches running one of the better systems. Is doing one of the better jobs in the nation of motivating his players and putting a system in place that allows his team to be successful with what they have. And I think Marcus Freeman would be a very, very interesting type of name to throw into the hat as it pertains to the head coach for the Dallas Cowboys. If they were to just do something that's completely off base, a splash move. I know he just signed an extension with Notre Dame and all that, but look, you're out your mind if you don't think that he would pass up on that extension with Notre Dame or void that mug so he can go coach with the Dallas Cowboys. You are out of your mind. Let me know your favorite options down in the comments below, and do you agree with this list? Essentially, my list was number 1, Ben Johnson, number 2, Aaron Glenn, number 3, we're looking at a Jon Gruden type of guy, number 4, a Dion Primetime type of guy, and then number 5, anybody but Kellen. Literally, anybody but Kellen, man. That's just where I'm at with it. Anybody but Kellen or Ron Rivera. Don't want any one of those type of guys over here with the Dallas Cowboys. Again, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I'll see you guys on the next one. We still same old Cowboys.
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still them boys? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Hey! Woo! Oh, shut up, my boy. Hey! I'm still them boys.